Oh my.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so I'd like to welcome everybody to tonight's shiur. Tonight we're studying Parashat Pinchas. The beginning of the first of the 3 weeks. I'd like to thank again Rabbi Netanel Dadoun for arranging the shiur. I'd like to dedicate the shiur tonight to Nishmat Rivka Shena. And להעביר לנו איש חיים טובים ארוכים for all Israel, especially for Rabbi Nami בת לאה מלכה, אלישע בת שבע בת רבקה, תקווה בת רות יעל, לאה בת חזק. כן הרפן עליהם רפואת הנפש ושקופת הגוף, ורפואה קרובה לבוא. So this week is Parashat Pinchas. So the episode of Pinchas, in brief, is after the Parashat Balak, when he saw he can't get Am Yisrael, so he goes to plan B. What's plan B? The God of the Jews protects them, but there's one thing that he hates more than anything else. One thing that gets him really angry. You can't get him angry, you get him angry with one thing. And that is immorality. Elokem soneh zima. So he's got a plan. We've got nice, young, beautiful girls in Moab. We're going to send them in. And they send them in to Am Yisrael. Even the princesses of the king, they send them in just to get Am Yisrael to sin. And they were successful in the plan. Even the first plan didn't work, cursing. Hashem didn't let them curse Am Yisrael. But when they got them to sin, they were successful. And in fact, it was one of the princesses. She was told just to go to the leader. She was going to go after Moshe Rabbeinu. And in fact, the Nasi, the prince of Shevet Shimon, he said, listen, he wanted her, and he said, I'm even greater than Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu is just the leader of his tribe, Levi. I'm the leader of Shimon. Shimon comes before Levi. And he convinced her, and he did the Avra with her. And then come along Pinchas and saw this great, disgusting act where one of the great leaders of the time, of Shevet Shimon, he was doing the Avra. Kosbi Batzor, Shalomit Bat Divri, they're doing their Avra. And he comes along and he takes a spear and he kills them both in front of everybody. Now, it's a difficult story to understand, but Pinchas gets rewarded here for generations. In fact, he gets the rewards of Briti Shalom. He becomes a Kohen. He lives an extra long life. Pinchas Eliyahu lives for maybe a period of 400 years. Gets into Eretz Israel. Tremendous reward. And the question is why? It's one act. Okay, it's maybe let's put it in perspective, to proportion. The halacha is, if somebody says Kol haboel Kanaanit Kanaim pogim bo, which means the halacha is if you would have gone to the Dayanim and said, listen, this is what's going on, what should we do? We said nothing. The halacha is we don't kill him. You don't kill anyone who goes with a non-Jew. If a Jewish man goes with a non-Jewish woman, it's asur, forbidden, he'll get his punishment. But not up to Beit Din to kill him. That's not the halacha. However, in these circumstances, Pinchas did it l'shem shamayim. He said, what happens if everyone sees the leader going with the Goya? What is everyone else going to do? Think about it. If the leader of the community, the president of the community, or the rabbi of the community, if he has non-Jewish going on non-Jewish, what is everyone else going to do? They're going to follow. So in that act of zealousy, that where Pinchas came out and said, I have to do for the name of God. Kinel Hashem, that's when he did it. Purely for the sake of God. Now, how do you know it's purely for the sake of God? He's not going to get rewarded from anyone else. They wanted to attack him. He's risking his own life. He said, I don't care about myself. I care about God. This is a disgrace for the name of God. I'm going to stand up. Even if I get kicked out of the community, I'm going to stand up for the name of God. And sometimes you need to do that. You need to stand up for what is right. I'm not saying go and killing anyone. But I'm saying if you see something is wrong, then you stand up and you say, this is wrong. I don't believe it, and you can walk out. And you make your statement, that's enough. And here you see Pinchas gets great reward for that. Now, I want to share with you a beautiful lesson. Because says the Midrash, regarding this act of Pinchas, bedinhu sheitol scharo. Now, what does that mean? In English, bedinhu means he rightfully deserves reward. And what do you mean rightfully deserves reward? Everyone who does a mitzvah rightfully deserves reward. Now, would you not say? So what does it mean? So I'll share with you the Midrash. Midrash says in Midrash Rabbah, Pasuk says in Iyov, Mi yigdemani v'ashalem. Who has given me anything and I will pay him? You do Brit Milah for your son. You've done a mitzvah, right? But who gave you the son to do Brit Milah on him? You're wearing tzitzit, kol hakavod, but who gave you the garment of tzitzit to wear? Putting on tefillin. Who gave you the tefillin? Who gave you an arm to put your tefillin on? Some people don't have arms. They now put tefillin. You give tzedakah. Who gave you money to give tzedakah? It says the money v'ashalem. And then it says Rabbi Tanchum. And this is maybe a secret you can let out here. He says don't play with it around. He said Misha ein lo nechasim. Somebody, a rich man giving tzedakah. It makes sense. He's rich. He's got money. But a poor man giving tzedakah. Misha ein lo nechasim v'oseh tzedakah b'gemilut chasadim. And somebody who buys books for children to learn Torah, and he doesn't have children himself. Or somebody who writes mezuzah and he doesn't have a house. Or someone who doesn't have a talit and he puts tzitzit. Someone who doesn't have sons and he does milah. Someone who writes books and gives out to others. That means he's doing the mitzvot before I've given him anything. I didn't give him a house. Why is he doing mezuzah? He wants to do mitzvah of mezuzah. I didn't even give any children to teach Torah, and he's going to teach Torah to children. I'll give him voice. He's giving out tzedakah, and I didn't even give him. He doesn't have money for himself to eat, and he's already giving charity. So I owe him. אמר הקדוש ברוך הוא, זה הקדים וקיים מצוותי, עד שלא נתתי לו במה לקיימן, צריך אני לשלם לו. I need to give him. He's done this mitzvah without even me giving him. He's given tzedakah. Therefore, says the Midrash, God says, I need to pay him. Litel lo mamon. I need to give him money because he's giving tzedakah. I need to give him sons, ubanim, shukurim, bisfarim. Look, he's buying books for them to learn. I need to give him sons. Have make the money lasot mitzvah v'ashalem schara. And this is like an opening. We're looking always for, how would I get a segula for money for children? Yeah, the Midrash says. It's a promise. You put like God in debt. You don't wait for him to give you money. Say, look, when I become rich, then I'm going to open up a kollel. I've got my dream. I want to open up a kollel. I want to open a shul, a synagogue, a yeshiva. I want to give. Start the other way around. When I have a son, I will teach him Torah. Start the other way around. Print books, give out books, help him to study, give them that, and then go to provide. And here we see Pinchas. He went out of his way doing mitzvah before he was obligated to do it. There was no obligation to kill, but he came up and stood up for Kiddush Hashem. Now, there's a mitzvah in the Torah. It's going to make a bracha. Baruch atah Elohim melech haolam she'akol nהיה b'dvaro.
Amen.
Thank you. There's a mitzvah to help your friend. If you see somebody stuck with their car, flat tire, you help them out. If you see they're unloading, your friend's in distress, you help him out. That's an obligation. But there's some mitzvot that you do when you're not obligated. To go look around for people who are stuck in their car. So I mentioned this last week. In Israel, they have an organization. In America, I don't know if in England they have. Yedidim. They go out and help people that are stuck with their car. They go out Pager, or they go out WhatsApp, or Hatzalaman. If you see someone stuck, a little bit of first aid, you help them out. But the volunteers for Hatzalah, they go around looking for people to help. Now, if someone asks me to borrow money, okay, if I have, I'll help them. But they'll go around looking for people to help. So there's difference between a Baal Chesed, when there's a mitzvah comes along and he does it, then someone who goes to look for a mitzvah. And this is the message made from Pinchas, that he went out to look for the mitzvah to do. He wasn't waiting around for the opportunity to come. Some people that, there's a knock on the door for someone collecting, and they hide. He was looking about going outside and looking for people to do tzedakah and chesed. And that's the message of Pinchas. That's the first message. The second lesson I wanted to share with you is I had this from Elimelech Biderman. He said it in the name of Khatam Sofer. He says all the tribes are making fun of Pinchas. They were embarrassing him. He says, "Ayu mevazim oto." But then you know the translation for mevazim oto. It's even like worse than embarrassing. It's humiliating it or disgracing it. You have a translation, Gilad?
Oh, disgraced.
Yeah, mevazim. Why? They used to call him Ben Puti. What's Ben Puti? He said, "Listen, your grandfather. Listen, he was megadel la'avodah zara. Agalim la'avodah zara." That's why the pasuk.
Why is Israel? Because Elazar's wife is
From the mother's side, yeah, from the mother's side. From his Aaron and from his mother's side, from his Elazar married, I don't know, one of the daughters of Yitro. So he was Kohen Midian beforehand.
But that's bit I don't understand. If he's the grandson of Aaron, so by definition he's a Kohen.
Okay, so very good. Gilad's asking a very good question. Why is by definition a Kohen? So the truth is, it's not exactly accurate. Because when Aaron became a Kohen, it was only Aaron and Banav. And all the descendants which come afterwards. But Pinchas was already born. He was already a grandson when Aaron was made the Kohen and his sons were made the Kohen. So Pinchas, even though he was descendant of Aaron, he wasn't made the Kohen. Only afterwards, when he showed his rightful colors, that's when he deserved it. Now I want to share with you something amazing. This is really a great lesson. He was disgraced and abused verbally, right? Everyone made fun of him, calling him Ben Puti. What was his response? What would you do?
Was it nothing? He didn't respond?
He did nothing. That's it. Shomer piru shono, shomer mitzvot nafsho. Which means you watch your mouth, you watch your tongue, you save yourself a lot of aggravation. Yeah? Shomer mitzvot nafsho. Now says the Gemara, this is unbelievable Gemara. It talks about Rabbi Barabaya. Yeah, he had friends with Malach HaMavet, the angel of death, and he's telling him what he's doing. He went on his rounds, and he said by mistake, he got the wrong girl. There was one lady on his list, and he took the wrong girl. He said, "What do you mean? How can you take somebody before their time? She's not on the list." So he says, "Okay, there's a few exceptions. If a person does something dangerous, then it's kitrug on them, and then they can get short of their life." Okay. Well, I can't remember the story of that. But then Rabbi asks the angel of death. He said, "Listen, she was meant to live X number of years. What do you do now with the extra years of her life? You've just taken her away. And there was life given to her, right? Life is energy, it's power."
Do they go on her Gilgul?
Okay, so it gets redistributed. And then the merit of those years goes to that person. So she falls short of that. Okay, tragic. But the years are added in life, they're given up to somebody else. Who did they give it to? It says the Gemara. Survan merabanan, demavir b'milei u'mesefin elehu. Translation of the Gemara. The angel of death takes her years of life. She was given extra 6 years. Who did she give it to? So somebody who is a young rabbi studying Torah, and first condition. Second condition, ma'avir al midotav, which means in English he passes over on his character, which means that when he has the right to get angry, he just overcomes his anger. Ma'avir al midotav. Maybe that would be the best way to translate it. He overcomes his anger. That means he's a young guy studying Torah. Okay, we're all here studying Torah. We're all friendly, say hello to each other. How are you? That's it. Now we get off the shiur, and then we get annoyed, right? At home, kids, the phone, that, their wife. If a person overcomes his anger, he gets extra life. The extra life of the extra years of the person who died young in the age. And then the mitzvot, the Torah they studies, and the years maybe that it's distributed evenly amongst between them.
Does he lose life? Does he lose life if he
No,
reacts the wrong way?
Okay, so Joe is asking a very good question. Does he lose life?
If he reacts the wrong way.
If he acts the wrong way and gets angry, okay. So I can tell you medically, getting angry shortens life. Not good for blood pressure, not good for indigestion, not good for nervous system, not good for a whole bunch of things. Yeah. But if we're talking about Aqidat Torah, you lose life, maybe not quantity, but more you lose in quality of life. Now, we're a bit digressing, but because Joe asked this question, I think it deserves the answer now. You have to appreciate something. When you do a mitzvah, okay, simple mitzvah of tzitzit, put tefillin, you make a bracha. So now you've brought down shefa on you. That means you've gone higher spiritually, and your neshama goes higher. That means you can reach higher levels of understanding of God and closeness to God. You with me, Joe? Up to the extent that when you do a good mitzvah, let's say if it's an outstanding special mitzvah, you can get something which is called the ibur neshama, which means you can have another neshama of tzaddik come on to you. Okay, now this is very rare because of the next stage. Because when somebody does get angry, then he loses all the extra tosefet of the neshama. Which means we can be learning Torah and doing mitzvot all day or many for years. But why then we become great holy tzaddikim? Okay, I'm just saying all here to this. Yeah? Because of the anger. Once a person gets angry, all the gain and benefits that he gets from his neshama, he loses it. So imagine if someone can keep his anger for a longer period of time, he'll reach the higher level, closeness to God. So the great tzaddikim, you see, never get angry. Never, always smile. It doesn't matter what you do to them. The root of that is because they're not thinking about themselves, they're thinking about other people. So, says the Khatam Sofer, Moshe comes along before his death and he says to Hashem, why can't I go to Eretz Israel? I want to go to Israel. I want to go to Eretz Israel. Hashem said to him, listen, it's not your time, your days are numbered. It's game over. Moshe Rabbeinu says, well, please, what about all the life? All of the people died in the desert in 40 years, they all died young. So now you've got a lot of extra leftover years. So he says, Hashem, please give me some of the years. That was like the negotiation between Moshe and Hashem. Hashem says, apologies, I can't give it to you. Why? Because there was one time when Moshe Rabbeinu got angry with Am Yisrael and he said to them, Shimon HaAmorim. So that time he got angry, he lost that opportunity, even Moshe Rabbeinu. Said the Khatam Sofer, said, who got those years? Who got those years? Who got those years that he lived for 400 years going into Eretz Israel? It was Pinchas. The Pinchas, when all of the tribes were making fun of him, calling him Ben Puti, your grandfather was an idolater, grandfather was a priest, and he took all of that visionot, disgrace, the humiliation, the verbal abuse, and he just kept quiet. God rewarded him. Everything gets rewarded. Everything is counted. He could fight back. He said, well, I'm the grandson of Aharon HaKohen. Why are you calling me this? Why are you calling me that? No. He kept quiet. And in that marriage, he got married for another 400 years. I want to tell you a fabulous story. I heard this tonight from Rabbi Netanel Dadoun. He says there's a Jew who was living in Bnei Brak. He passed away a few years ago. And he lived to the age of 96. But then just lived till 96. He was a healthy guy. He was walking on his own to the Makolet, used to do his own laundry, used to do his own sponge out. He was healthy and strong. And his name was Avram Steiner. This is a great story. You've got to hear the story. He said, how come he lived such a long life? Who's with me? Is anybody with me? Yaakov's with me? Okay, great. Oh, good. I can hear. Listen to the story. So he said in Auschwitz, They were in Auschwitz, and there was a horrible, disgusting custom of the Nazi general. After his dinner, he would call out one name of the Jews on the list, take him outside and shoot him dead. That was his very cruel, sadistic, disgusting custom. Yeah. Every day, different name. At one time, he called out a name, and he called out Yaakov Katzman. And Yaakov Katzman just finishing his soup, whatever it is, and now he's realized he's next on the list. So he turns around to the guy next to him, in fear for his own life. And he said, Yaakov Katzman, it's you. Go up. They're calling you. Yaakov Katzman, Yaakov Katzman. Now, halachically, if you ask me halachically, I don't think it's allowed, but you can't judge somebody who was about to be killed. You're not allowed to give out another Jew. If they call out for a specific name, then you're not allowed to give somebody else. But he was fighting for his life.
But
now,
it's not Chayecha Kodmin?
Okay, very good. So Chayecha Kodmin, you're allowed to save yourself. Chayecha Kodmin. But you're not allowed to kill somebody else for Chayecha Kodmin. That means you're allowed to steal, or you're allowed to do something else for Chayecha Kodmin, but not
at the expense of someone else.
No, it depends. It's not accurate. It depends how. If you're talking the sugya of the Gemara, let's say if I've got a medicine.
Yeah, in the desert with the.
Yeah. So the Gemara in Bava Metzia, if I'm not mistaken, Gilad's referring to when there's two people in the desert and there's one bottle of water, last bottle, and it's mine. And somebody else comes and says, please give me the water. And I said, listen, I need it. I said, yeah, but I'm dying now. I said, what can I do? I'm going to die in another 5 minutes. I need it for myself. Says the Gemara, but I don't have to give it to him. Why? Because Chayecha Kodmi. But that is indirectly. I'm not actually killing somebody. I'm just keeping the water for myself to save myself. That's different than here handing over someone over to the Germans and killing them when he's the one who's going to be on the list. But listen to this great story. Avram Steinman. Let me get his name right. Steiner. So Yaakov Katzman, he says, listen, this is guy Yaakov Katzman gets called up, and this Avram Steinman, what would you do in that situation? It's like, I'm not Yaakov Katzman, you're Yaakov Katzman. Avram Steiner decided when he's going into the war, he needs a protection. So what's going to be his protection? Shomer people shono, shomer mitzvot nafsho. He's going to keep his mouth shut, quiet. It doesn't know, I call it tovan. It's a tremendous nisayon, it's a test. And everyone knew what happens every night, that everyone gets killed. And he decided not. Now what happened was he was fighting with him, Yaakov Katzman, he's getting bigger noise. The general says, who's Yaakov Katzman? Yaakov Katzman, and he pulls him over to the front. And he said, now, today is going to be different. Every day I take one guy and kill him, and all the rest live. Today I decided I'm going to call out one guy, and he's going to live, and all the rest are going to die. And he said he got saved. That was what saved him. He said he thought that was what's going to kill him. And you see, you learned a lot of things from this story. Number one, Yaakov Katzman, he said, you can't get away. Your label is going to be killed. You can't put it on somebody else. But also, here, Shomer people shono, Shomer mitzvot nafsho. The guy lived for a very old age. And he said, how much is Gematria Piv? Piv Gematria Pei, 80. Yud is 10. Vav is 6. How much is that? Go on, here's the math for me.
Yeah, it's 90. Shem Hashem,
96.
right?
96. And how old did he live, this young man, old man? He lived to the age of 96, healthy and strong, he said, because of this chot mitzvah. Now, what does it mean, Shomer people shono? Shomer people shono doesn't mean speaking badly to others, respecting others, but also not lying. Now, the story continues. The story continues. When he got back from the war, so the Germans were offering compensation for all those that were injured in the war, or something happened to them in the war. And all his grandchildren, they were saying to him, listen, if the doctor calls you up, So this is what you should tell him. He's like, why? He says, no, because then you can get out more money, more compensation. If you're more, if you can prove that you're injured, or that you had more, what do you say? Hezek, nizak. You were handicapped as a result of the Germans, then you can get more money. And all this money was designated to me on Rosh Hashanah. You still hear me? The connection is good, yeah?
Yeah,
He said,
I lost you for a sec.
So all his children were trying to convince him to make out a better story to the doctor so that they get more compensation from the Germans. And he said, my money was given to me on Rosh Hashanah. That's how much decided. I'm not lying to get out any more money. This is what I deserve. This is what I'm getting. I'm going to tell you the truth. And they used to make phone calls to him, pretending that they were the German doctors, asking him questions. And he got fed up with it. He said, I told you I'm not lying for any money. And one day, the actual German doctor called, and he thought it was one of his kids again, trying to convince him to tell. And he started shouting at the doctor. The doctor didn't open his mouth, and just identified himself. And he was just saying, I told you, I'm not lying. I'm not lying for any money. Money's not going to count me. I don't care about money. I'm not going to lie. This is what he started shouting at him. He started shouting at the doctor. And you can imagine a German doctor does, and this guy is just shouting at the phone. There's got to be something wrong with him. He's just shouting and shouting and shouting. That's it. He says, the doctor concludes. This guy has suffered so much in the war that he's crazy. He's just lost his marbles. And because of that, he got extra lot of compensation. And I said, listen, I need to lie. Ish borei la'olam, ish manhig la'olam. There's a creator, and you decide how much money I get. And you have to be honest and go in the right way in the name of Hashem. And this is the lesson that we're now in the 3 weeks. This is a 3-week period of 21 days between 17 of Tammuz and 9 of Av. And it's a mourning period. There's no weddings, there's no celebration, no dancing, that's me and no. It's a mourning period. It's also time of Tshuva of Ben Adam Lechavero. That's one great story I'll share with you. There was a woman who was telling her husband, listen, the neighbors, they just got dirty laundry. And you can see hanging out from the window. Look, I look through the window, and they're hanging out clean laundry, and it's not clean. They obviously don't know how to use the right detergent. They don't know how to scrub, how to clean. So go tell them, we'll teach them how to do it properly. So the husband just says, just leave it for a day. Because why not? But not out of looking at the neighbor's dirty laundry, but out of genuinely trying to help out someone else. So he said, just let's leave it for a day. The next day, she tells him a few times, passes over, and she sees after a few days, she turns to her husband and he says, look, I see now all the laundry, it's clean. See, somebody's told them how to do the laundry, and you just missed your mitzvah. You missed it. You should have told them you would have got the mitzvah. Because you're like waiting around and draining around, someone else took the mitzvah of helping them out with their laundry. So he turned to his wife, he said, my dear wife, I'll just tell you, I woke up this morning and I just cleaned the window. The window was dirty. You were looking outside a dirty window and you thought everything was dirty. I cleaned the window and now it looks clean. What's the message here? How do we look at other people with our own eyes? Sometimes it's our vision which is dirty, not other people's actions. We have to judge in favor of look at them with a good eye, see the goodness in other people. The traffic light has the same light bulb. It's just the plastic, it's colored. It makes it green, makes it red, it makes it amber. But, if we look at it with the right eyes and the right lenses, we see the right thing. And we said we're going to do a short share today. We're going to stop here. But there's just one last idea I have to share with you. And this is amazing. I was just looking up at my notes when I'm preparing the share tonight. In the book of Rabbi Netanel Dadoun, he lives in Yerushalayim. He has a sefer Yemei Torah. Okay, we all have young kids, Baruch Hashem, and we're all raising our kids. And at the same time, we're trying to build our life and raise our kids. And our focus, sometimes the kids get in our way of certain things that we've put on for ourselves, certain ambitions, targets, maybe in business, maybe in studying or learning, maybe in health. We want to do things, and then our kids get in the way. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? No idea. Okay. So listen to this. You want a long life? It's b'schut your kids. It says over here, person raises his kids and then he gets them married off. When they get to the age, gets them married off, helps them to get married, helps them with the shidduch, helps them with the wedding, helps them settle down. He said, when a person gets to his last child and he marries them off, he said, he's got nothing less to do in this world. That's what he says. He said, you're here in this world to raise your kids. Once you've raised them and you've married them off, what else do you have to do? He said, go and look for something to do. He says he should go look for what the public needs, the community needs, and go and do something for the community, and that way, marichin lo yamav. And he said, if you have more children, the more children you have, the more kids you have to deal with, and mainly the more longer you need to live, because they need you as a father, as a parent. And then he brings in the name of Rabbi Tzadka, Rosh Yeshiva Puat Yosef, said in the name of Rabbi Israel Weissig, if I pronounce it correctly. And he also brings in the name of Or Chadash. He said this was a story of Pinchas. Pinchas, after he did this act of jealousy for the name of God, Kinat Hashem, he said that was his mission in life. He was done. Game over. He should have died.
He
said,
did.
do you want to speak up?
He did die.
He did? What
Yeah.
do you mean?
When Shevet Shimon came to surrounded him,
Yeah.
he died out of fear.
Oh, really? Okay, you have to show me that. I don't remember this. I know they all crowded around him. They wanted to kill him.
No, he died. And when he returned with the neshama of Aviv. Yeah.
Okay, maybe you can show that to me inside Gilad. You have to see that. But either way, he was attacked and says over here that he should have died. Maybe saying that he did die and he comes back to life. Why did he get extra life? Why? Either way, I'm saying, why did he get extra life? He said, when a person's got nothing left to do in this world, then there's no reason for him to be here, no purpose. He has to leave. You've done what you need to do. You've raised your kids. Okay, you can go now. He said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Chas al Adam. He's compassionate for a person. He said, listen, he's done such a good job. He's raised beautiful kids, fantastic children. He said, I'm going to give him another job to do, so they will get more life. Like Dil Kvod Shamayim. If he does it l'shem Shamayim for good things, and he does good things to do, then Hashem will give him extra long life. Hashem gives him extra long life, so he'll be able to fulfill his dream of doing more things for Kvod Shamayim. So a person thinks, okay, listen, I need long life. Okay, and this is always, the person gets to that age when they've married off their kids, that's already the age of 60, 70. Now the human body as a machine, that's when there's like, how do you call it?
What, time clock? Like your internal time clock?
Not a time clock, but physically, the body is like wear and tear. There's, how do you call it?
It peaks.
Shelf life.
A timer.
What's it called? What's the
Yeah.
word? Like
A timer.
timer. What were you going to say, Yaakov?
Like everything has its expiry date.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about expiry date. There's something which is new and it works well. There's something after a while, like a car, it needs to changing parts get, wear and tear, gets old. People at that age start having, sorry?
Warranty.
No.
Depreciation.
Depreciation, yeah, that's it. Things go wrong. Things malfunction. Things need changing, right? So people at that age, the golden age, they have different medical issues. Because then naturally the body gets old and not everything works. And so people are looking for, how to get a longer life. Yeah. People watch their health, people change their diet, people change their the lifestyle, the activity. It says here, the Zohar, you want a long life, you need the merit. I have an auntie, great aunt, Leonora, let's say her age, over the age of 80. She lives on her own, deals with herself, cooks home for herself, and she volunteers. She gets on a bus, she travels, over 80-year-old lady, no walking stick, nothing. She's a volunteering lady. She lives on her own. But because you have a duty where the community needs you, Hashem gives you a longer life. And that's what a person should always look for more things to do. He said, Pinchas, he used up all his tafkid, his purpose, his mission in life, which he was made for. And then I had to look for something else to do. And he said that was the same thing with Yaakov Avinu. When the angel came to him, said L'sfat emet, he was supposed to die when he fought with him. But he said, listen, I've got another job for you. You're supposed to raise the 12 tribes. They gave him that job to give him a longer life. And I'm going to end off with this following story of the Zohar. I'm going to read it inside, so you can be patient with me. And I'm going to just translate it as I read it. I think this is maybe one of the most amazing stories that I read in the Zohar. There's a lot of Zohar which is hidden secrets. This is one of the Zohars which is not hidden, or at least there's a simple understanding even without knowing all the secrets of the Torah. So the story of Rabbi Yosef, the Pekin. Let me just get this right. Yeah. Rabbi Elazar said, he heard that there was a tzaddik called Rabbi Yosef from Pekin and he died. Rabbi Elazar said to all his friends in the Bet Midrash, they all starting to listen, let's go and do chesed with this special rimona da'ava maleh bekulam. This great, he called him a pomegranate, a rimon, because he was full of mitzvot, of chesed. This is a great man. Let's go and do the last act of kindness with him as his soul departs his body. The Lechem got chesed from that tzaddik. He was full of goodness, full of Torah, and full of mitzvot like a rimon. And his name is Rabbi Yosef the Pekin. Pekin is a name of a place in Israel, a town in Israel called Pekin. And he was Rabbi Yosef from Pekin. So he's about to die. They all came with Rabbi Elazar to go and depart from this great man, Rabbi Yosef. Now the next part of the Zohar is unbelievable. They get there, after traveling forever how long it took, and they saw all the people of the city. They saw Rabbi Elazar walking out and all the Chachamim walking out. So they said, okay, we're coming with you. Where are you going? He said, we're going to Rabbi Yosef from Pekin. So the whole city came out and they all followed these Chachamim to this house of Rabbi Yosef from Pekin. And then the Zohar tells the story like this. He had one boy, Rabbi Yosef from Pekin, a small young boy, and he wouldn't leave his father. He was just crying on the body of his father, crying tears. He's on the body of his father that was laying dead. And he wouldn't let anyone else get near the bed. Now they wanted to take him to come bury him. And the boy was just there crying over his father's body. He wouldn't let anyone get near him. He was the only one there and he was crying. And his face was on his face and he was sticking to his father. Then, says the Zohar, his child cried out, Ribono shel olam. It says in the Torah, כאן יקרא כאן ציפור לפניך. לא תיקח האם על הבנים. שלח תשלח את האם ואת הבנים תיקח לך. Which is a mitzvah in the Torah when you see a bird's nest and you want to take the children.
You take the bird and you separate it from its eggs.
Yeah, you have to send away the mother bird.
Yeah.
Send away the mother bird and then you can take the children or the eggs. So the young boy cries out and he said, Marei da'alma, Ribono shel olam, Yeh ratzon, you should fulfill what's written in the Torah. Because there was two boys that my mother gave birth to. Hayinu ma'avi avami. Me and my sister, my younger sister. You should have taken us. Send away the mother bird, send away the parent, and take the child. That's what it says in the Torah. So he said, why are you taking my father? You want to take somebody, you should take me and my sister. And he's crying and he's crying and he said to Hashem, you should fulfill what's written in the Torah. And if you say, if you say in the Torah, it says send away the mother. It doesn't say send away the father. The mother. It doesn't say ta'av. He said, but in my situation, my father is my father and my mother. He said, my mother, she already passed away a few years ago. You already took her. Now all I have is my father. And my father is my mom and he's my father. Now you're going to take away him and it's taking away nothing. And he's crying and everyone's crying there in the room. And he said, this young boy is crying to Hashem. He said, why are you taking my father? Now my father is here and he's Ashaya Mechape Magin Alen. He used to protect us, look after us. And now he's taken away from his children, leaving the children. He said, Efo din shel Torah? Where's the din Torah? Everyone was crying. Bachur Rabbi Elazar v'chavraya lekabel b'chev v'guda hu yinoka. He's crying over this child. And his child went up to heaven, these cries. And obviously that was overwhelming. Everyone's could not stop from crying. בלב מלכים אין חקר. שאין לחקור אחר מעשה הקדוש ברוך הוא. We don't know God's calculations. כי אין סוף לחוכמתו יתברך. His wisdom is endless. אמר רבי אלעזר, he said this pasuk, שאף על פי שדבר יינו כנכונים, even though his words seemed correct, עם כל זה, לב הקדוש ברוך הוא אין חקר. He can't understand God. He seemed to have a claim against God. A legitimate claim. So Rabbi Elazar said, you can't judge God. He's the ultimate judge and he knows his cheshbonot.
But why it's a legitimate claim? I don't understand.
Because he's saying God has made the law in his Torah. Send away the mother, take the children.
But how is it relevant to the fact that his father passed away, according to this logic?
So he's saying you shouldn't take away the father. You should send away the father, let the father live, and take the children. He said, why? He said, take me and my sister, don't take my father. He's comparing it to the Torah. This is the logic of the child. And you should notice in Tefillah, you've seen many times, Chachamim, they say to Hashem, this is what's written in Torah, and they make a claim like that. It doesn't matter if the claim is right or not right. Hashem likes that Tefillah. He likes it. And you see from the next part of the story. Rabbi Elazar said he wanted to stop the child crying because he's Matiach Klapei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He's saying as if Hashem is not keeping the Torah and Hashem is doing something illegitimate and not deserving. And he wanted to stop the child crying. A pillar of fire came and separated between him and the child. It says the Zohar. Because Ayad Nachat Ruach LaKadosh Baruch Hu. Hashem liked this tefillah. He was joined to the face, to the lips of his father, and he wouldn't separate from his father. Amar Rabbi Elazar, he turned around and he said to all his friends, I have a feeling of either there's going to be a miracle over here, and Rabbi is going to live, or he doesn't want anyone else to deal with this body. But this crying of this child and his tears, I can't bear it anymore. I can't bear these tears anymore. I can't listen to it. Something's going to happen over here. I don't know what's going to happen to the body. Either the body's going to be taken away, but I don't need to take this body, and I can't bear this crying. I'm leaving. At that moment, when they were still there, they heard the voice, the heavenly voice coming out, saying, Ashrei lecha Rabbi Yossi. Fortunate are you, Rabbi Yossi. This, the words of your young child and his tears reached up to Kisei HaKavod Melech HaKadosh Baruch Hu v'danu dina, and they passed the judgment, and you're going to live. He said, in your place, there's going to be 13 other people, because it's going to be Pidyon Nefesh. The Malach HaMavet is going to take somebody else, and you're going to be granted life, shanim of Sifula. Extra life for 22 years. Why? And this is the punchline. The lolif orayt and the high gadget shlema. In order that you should be able to teach Torah to this young child, calls him a young goat. Chaviva kamek kuchabricha, which is chaviv and beloved to HaKadosh Baruch. which means Rabbi Yosef was already dead. And God gave him an extra 22 years of life to fulfill the mission of teaching his tribe Torah. Which means to merit life. Life is a gift. But to get merit life and to merit a long life and a good life, we have to be deserving. And we need a mission. Right? When a person gets a mission, so from the Queen or from the government, so he gets a budget according to what he needs to be done. So your budget according to what you want to do, what you want to fulfill. So everyone asks the person, if you have children, that's already a mission. The fact that they need you to look after them could be that's the reason why we're alive. And when they grow older, you need other children or maybe grandchildren. And then when they've all married off, you really need to look in the community to find things that you can do to give yourself a mission for a long life. So let's just summarize the lessons that we learned today. We learned in the beginning, Nik the money Shalem. Who's going to give God before I give him? Look for things to do, like the Atzala, like the people go out and looking for chesed. Don't wait for it to come along. Let's remember that we said of Shomer people, Ushono, Shomer mitzarot nafsho. That Pinchas, he didn't want to, even though he got abused and he got disgraced, but he was quiet and he merited the long life. Remember the guy in Auschwitz that decided to keep quiet even though his life was on the line and at the end his life was saved. Let's remember that no lying is going to get us any money. You have to be truthful and honest. And the guy didn't lie, he ended up getting big compensation from the Germans. Let's remember that if we see other people look dirty in their actions, maybe it's our own glasses need to be cleaned. And let's remember this great story of Pinchas that merited a long life for his extra mission that he had in life, he took upon himself. And when we take up good things to do in the name of God, then of course we'll be granted a long life, good life, and health. I hope you enjoyed the shiur. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thanks,
If you enjoyed
Rabbi.
that, wish you all a Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Laila Tov.
Wish you
Thanks
better.
very much.
Thank you very much. I feel that before the shiur, I'm feeling better. I don't know if you noticed, I think I maybe sneezed twice in the whole shiur.
No,
And,
didn't
all
want.
day, I can't tell you, maybe hundreds of tissues. I don't know if you can see on screen, my nose is red from rubbing the tissues.
No, not at all. You look normal.
Okay, Baruch Hashem. Thank
Really, you
God.
look normal.
Thank God. So I'm happy. Thank God for this whole shiur. I'm already feeling better. Wish you all a Shabbat Shalom.
רפואה
שלמה,
שלמה,
for joining
שבת
me.
שלום.
Jazakallah.